So imagine this. A small boy from Argentina walking into the Barcelona dressing room. They said he was too small, too weak, too shy. They said he wouldn't survive in professional football, let alone change it forever. Lionel Andres Messi didn't look like a threat. He was quiet. He hardly spoke. He walked with his head down and eyes low. Nobody could have imagined that this little boy from Rosario would one day humiliate the entire football world. But he did. Step by step, goal by goal, until the world had no choice but to bow down. And if you're between 30 and 45, you didn't just watch this story unfold. You lived through it. You saw the doubts, the breakthroughs, and the miracles on late-night TV or grainy YouTube clips. So let's go back to where it all started. Rosario, Argentina, June 24th, 1987. A working-class family welcomes their third of 4 children. Jorge Messi, a steel factory worker, and Celia, a part-time cleaner, couldn't have guessed their son would become a global icon. In fact, they were worried about his health. By age 9, Lionel had stopped growing. He was smaller than everyone around him, painfully shy and often silent. But give him a football and everything changed. At 4 years old, he joined Grandoli, coached by his father. And let's be honest, most 4-year-olds trip over the ball. But Messi glided. Even then, people whispered. Something was different about this kid. His biggest supporter wasn't his father, though. It was his grandmother, Celia. She believed in him when others laughed at his size. Once, a coach refused to let him play with older kids. Too risky, he said. He'll get hurt. Celia wouldn't accept it. She demanded they put him in. And when Messi scored within minutes, she clapped the loudest. He never forgot her. When she passed away at age 11, Messi lost his biggest fan. That's why every time he scores, he points to the sky. It's for her. And think about it. How many players still dedicate every single goal to someone after thousands of them? That's not habit. That's love. But then came the blow that nearly ended it all. Doctors diagnosed Messi with growth hormone deficiency. Without treatment, he would top out at 4 feet 7 inches. The cost? $1,500 a month. Imagine being a steelworker's family and hearing that. It was impossible. Newell's Old Boys, the local club where Messi had already scored over 500 goals, tried to help but couldn't sustain the cost. This was the moment most kids would fade away. The dream ends. The story dies. But Messi wasn't most kids. Here's where fate intervened. At 13, Messi traveled to Barcelona for a trial. He scored 5 goals and stunned coaches immediately. But the executives hesitated. Too small, too expensive, too risky. Then came the napkin. In a meeting at a tennis club, technical director Carls Rexach scribbled a contract on whatever paper he could find. "We sign Lionel Messi," it read. Signed on a napkin, worth hundreds of thousands today, but priceless for football history. Barcelona agreed to cover his treatment, and Messi left Argentina with his father. Think about the courage. A 13-year-old kid leaving behind family, friends, and culture, stepping into a foreign land, barely speaking a word. You'd expect him to fold. He didn't. At La Masia, Barcelona's famous academy, Messi barely spoke. Gerard Piqué once said they thought he was mute. The other boys mocked him for his ankle bandages. He'd arrive early to avoid changing in front of anyone. They called him El Mudo, the mute. But the ball, that was his language. Coaches said he spoke only with his feet, and every time he did, defenders were left chasing shadows. By 17, he debuted for Barcelona. By 18, he scored his first official goal after a Ronaldinho assist, chipping the keeper with the calm of a veteran. Fun fact, he had scored an identical goal just minutes earlier, but it was ruled offside. So he did it again, like he was saying, "Don't worry, I've got another one." That's not luck. That's genius. The transformation began in 2006. In El Clasico against Real Madrid, Messi scored a hat-trick at just 19 years old. Think about that. Real Madrid wasn't just a football team, It was the Galacticos. Zidane, Beckham, Ronaldo, Casillas, Ramos. The lineup looked like a FIFA video game cheat code. And yet this teenager tore them apart single-handedly. Every time Madrid scored, Messi equalized. Final whistle, 3-3. Barcelona didn't win, but the football world stopped. A star was born. Or rather, a monster. Casillas later admitted, "That night, we realized he wasn't just talented. He was a monster in disguise." From then, the humiliation of the football world began in full force. Against Getafe, Messi ran 60 meters past 5 defenders to score a goal that looked identical to Maradona's in 1986. Against Espanyol, he scored with his hand, like Maradona's hand of God. Except this wasn't a copy. It was proof. Messi wasn't the next Maradona. He was the first Messi. And that's worse news for defenders, because how do you stop something the game has never seen before? Then came Pep Guardiola. He looked at Messi and said, "This isn't just a player, he's a system." He built Barcelona around Messi, creating a midfield machine of Xavi and Iniesta, feeding him endless passes. The result? Humiliation on a global scale. From 2008 to 2012, Barcelona dominated football like no team before. Messi scored 91 goals in 2012 alone, breaking Gerd Müller's record 91. That's more than most strikers in their careers. Teams tried man-marking him, triple-marking him, parking the bus, praying to the football gods. Nothing worked. He slipped through everything, like water through fingers. And it wasn't only the goals, it was the way Barcelona dismantled world-class clubs. Manchester United in the 2009 and 2011 Champions League finals? Humiliated. Arsenal in 2010? Messi scored 4 in one game, casually. Real Madrid in 2011? He dribbled through half their team at the Bernabeu in silence, no celebration, as if to say, business as usual. And maybe you remember watching that live, jaw-dropped, thinking, did he just do that? And the numbers kept stacking. 10 La Liga titles, 4 Champions League trophies, 672 goals for Barcelona, 8 Ballon d'Ors, 35 club trophies, records shattered so casually you'd miss them if you blinked. Think about this. He scored 474 goals in La Liga, more than any player in the league's history. That's not a career, that's a demolition job. But let's not forget the rivalries that defined an era. Cristiano Ronaldo versus Messi. You probably had those debates with friends, maybe even argued so much someone had to buy the next round of drinks. Ronaldo was the machine, the athlete, the showman. Messi was the quiet assassin. Different personalities, same obsession with winning. Together, they pushed each other to levels football had never seen. And if you were watching between 2008 and 2018, you saw the greatest rivalry in sport play out in real time. Admit it, how many times did you say, this is the year Messi slows down, only to watch him drop another hat-trick that weekend? But critics always found an excuse. He hasn't won a World Cup. He can't be the greatest without it. And for years, it seemed true. Messi lost finals in 2014, 2015, 2016. He even retired briefly from the national team. Argentina fans booed him. Journalists called him a failure. It was cruel. Imagine being the greatest player alive and still being told, you're not enough. But Messi came back. And in 2022, at 35 years old, when most players are retired or commentating on TV, he gave us the grand finale. The World Cup in Qatar. 7 goals, 3 assists. He scored in every knockout round. In the final against France, he scored twice, converted his penalty, and lifted the trophy after a 3-3 draw and shootout win. Argentina was champion again for the first time since Maradona. The image of Messi holding the trophy, draped in a golden robe, will live forever. Critics silenced. Doubters humiliated. A boy who doctors once said would never play professional football had conquered the highest stage. And the journey didn't even end there. After leaving Barcelona, Messi joined PSG. Many thought it would tarnish his legacy. But even in France, surrounded by stars like Neymar and Mbappe, he showed flashes of the old magic. And in 2023, when he returned to Argentina as a World Cup champion, the streets of Buenos Aires filled with millions. People climbed traffic lights, sang until sunrise, and chanted his name like he was a living saint. That wasn't humiliation for the football world. That was worship. And you know what's funny? Through all this, he stayed the same. No flashy celebrations, no dramatic press conferences, no wild scandals. He trained early, he worked silently, he pointed to the sky, he went home. That's it. Meanwhile, the rest of the football world screamed, complained, argued, and tried to stop him. Messi didn't need to humiliate them with words. He humiliated them with football. You might remember watching him in those years, sitting on your couch with friends, maybe with a beer in hand, arguing about whether Ronaldo was better, or if Messi's goals meant less because he was in La Liga. And then Messi would dribble through 3 defenders, curl one past the keeper, and you'd look at your friends and laugh. What are we even debating? So, how did a small, quiet boy from Rosario humiliate the entire football world? By surviving what should have ended him, by leaving home at 13 with nothing but a dream, by enduring injections every night, by letting his feet speak louder than words ever could, by turning doubt into fuel, criticism into fire, and matches into masterpieces. And here's the thing, if you're in your 30s or 40s, you got to witness it all. From the first skinny kid with long hair running past giants, to the man lifting the World Cup with tears in his eyes. You didn't read about it in a history book, you lived it. That's rare, that's special. Messi's story isn't just about football, it's about how quiet determination beats loud doubt, how love for the game beats money, size, and power, and how sometimes the smallest boy grows into the biggest legend. Lionel Andres Messi didn't only play football, he redefined it. And in doing so, he left the football world humbled, awestruck, and yes, completely humiliated.